My friend, I have another Podapalooza podcast for you on the Back to Me podcast. These are like little bite-sized podcasts. I feel like they're like sliders, instead of getting a whole hamburger, we're just getting sliders. So this is J.Lumen, and we're talking about, supersizing life with your unexpected mini moments, which sounded very intriguing to me, and it was super interesting. And I have to tell you, during this episode, she was blowing my mind, and I ended up blowing my own mind. So you should really have a listen. So J.Lumen knows when life sucks, and she knows what it feels like to be trapped in the wrong relationship or in the wrong job due to circumstances, guilt, doubt, and that maybe it seems impossible to find a way out. But while she was there, because she was there, she knew that that wasn't the life she deserved. So she survived what became an unexpected attempt on her life, which kind of shocked me. I was like, what? So after that little wake up call, someone tried to kill her. She began living without regret. And she created this thing called the unknown bucket list approach. And she's a certified life and transformation and empowerment coach. And she's on a mission to teach others how to stop tolerating their life and start living, because life is short. And I am all about that. I am all about creating that life that you want. And my method is called the Thriving Life Method, right? Because why tolerate your life? Thrive, thrive, thrive. That's why you're here. Have a listen. Give us a little heart. Give us some thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Subscribe. And I hope you have a beautiful day. See you soon. Cool. Friends, hello. Speed podcasting. Here we go. So you know how I don't like to rush things, but sometimes you just rev it up a little bit so you can get a little excitement. So this is Heather. This is Back to Me. Super exciting to bring you another awesome human being to have a chat with us about really cool things. And today I'm talking to J.Lumen. I like the thing behind you, the unknown bucket list. We're going to have to talk about that at some point. But my audience knows the first question that because I'm just such a super curious person. I always want to know, and you started to tell me, but I had to stop you. How did you get to here? It's like, wait, they're going to want to hear this. Don't tell me yet. I don't want to know. La, 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 la. So tell me, how did you get to this, flipping your switch?
Well, first, Heather, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be talking to you today. And so, backtrack to the part where you didn't hear it.
Yeah. La, la.
Yeah. So, there was a point in time where I was in the wrong relationship and the wrong job. And it was the wrong relationship because if he had asked me to marry him, I would have said no. So, the kind of the wrong relationship.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was trapped in the wrong relationship and the wrong job because I was financially responsible for both of us. Felt guilty if I kicked him out, but then couldn't quit my job that I absolutely hated because again, no money was coming in from any other source but me. So I eventually figured out that I could pay for him to go away and move back to his family, which was 4 states away. And then I was
It's like,
free
I'll
to
just pay
do,
you to go away.
yeah, because I couldn't kick him out on the street. I felt too guilty about that. And that was keeping me trapped, but I couldn't stay where I was. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just pay for him to go. And that solved half the problem.
Right.
But I still didn't know what I wanted and convinced myself the job that I really hated and was complaining about, I convinced myself to suck it up and tolerate it. Except 2 months later, the boy drove from over 1,000 miles away, and the night ended with his arrest for attempted murder.
What?
Mine.
You paid
Mine.
him to go away and he came back and tried to kill you?
Yeah, he had. Have you ever watched that show Snapped?
No, thank
Well,
goodness.
it's just about people who have mental snaps. Like there was a knock at the door, I opened it, and he was there, and it was like, "What's going on?" And cut to the end of the evening. Um, but
I watched like the first 48, that cops, bad boys, bad boys. not anymore, but
What you gonna do?
exactly.
Yeah. Um, so I it was my it was like my wake up call because I had started to fix the life I was complaining about, solved half the problem, and quit. And convinced myself that I could suck it up and tolerate it because as adults, that's what we're told to do. There
No,
are points in times where you just have to suck it up and tolerate it because we're adults and this is called life. No,
I
no,
want to
no.
go to the world where we can have a temper tantrum still,
Yes.
right? Lay on the floor and kick my hand, feet, and pound my fists.
Exactly. And
So
then
he
realize
didn't
that it's
kill
not going to
you.
accomplish anything.
He didn't
No.
kill you, which is good.
Yes.
And you escaped from him entirely, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And then you have the job, you're sucking it up, and you say, why am I doing this?
Oh, yes. So that was my wake up call to be like, okay, so you need to quit the job and you need to figure out what it is that you want in your life, whether you know what you want or not. And I started looking back in my past, what used to bring me joy, what passions I had forgotten about, what used to make me happy that I no longer did, and used that as kind of a way to leverage myself and propel myself forward to guide myself to a life that I did enjoy and wanted. Um, and you were asking about the unknown bucket list.
Yeah,
So it's a way of thinking that it's a way of uncovering the bucket list of life you've already been living. And so you look back at your past, find all the moments that you didn't give yourself credit for, and we all do it.
yes.
And all the little things that we overlooked as insignificant in our lives. And we look at that and kind of make a little collection into our little bucket and leverage ourselves to move forward and create bigger goals, larger dreams, do things that we never considered possible. And it's all done just through like little micro shifts and mini moments. And you can
That's
see
so
this
that's the
very
mini
fulfilled
moments.
life.
So
Yeah.
you're mining the stuff you've done, but you have dismissed and putting the little gold nuggets into your bucket. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that it would be full because who gives themselves credit for things that they do? They're like, ah, that was just that, right?
Yeah, exactly. We all do it.
Yeah,
We all do it.
absolutely.
Yep.
And then, so I guess by creating this, I got to stop hitting my microphone. I accidentally turned it off earlier. Sorry, you
Oh,
guys. um, the creating these mini moments, I guess when you look into it, you go, oh, holy moly, I'm actually pretty cool. Maybe I could go do something. I
yeah.
think when I think about the things that I wanted to do when I was a kid, because I can remember. So this is funny. I wanted to be an artist and a veterinarian, and I became an accountant married to a narcissist.
That's quite a difference.
Right? There's a reason that I jumped ship. I've reinvented myself a couple of times because the first time, do you find the first time is the hardest
Yes.
for when you, because we have been taught that you do this, you climb this step, this step, this step, do this, do this, do this. The carrot is always dangling a little bit further away, a little bit further away. You never seem to get it. And when you
Right.
you get to the corner office, you're like, wait a minute, where the hell's the damn carrot?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's gone now, and I'm where I'm supposed to be. So what's the deal? Why aren't I happy? Some people are totally like, if you love being there, power to you because you have found your place. If you don't love being there, then what do we do? What do we do, Jay?
Exactly. And it's
Tell me
it's
what
all
to do.
about, like what you were just saying. There are people who that is what they want
Oh my God,
and
and they're good
that
at it.
fulfills them and gives them like their best life They have no regrets about it because that's what they want. And kudos to them for achieving the goal that they set for themselves.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's about living the life that you, I, your audience, what you want, because we only have one life. We're the ones living it. And it's not to say you can't make any compromises either, because you might have two or three things and you're trying to figure out, how do I do all of these things? Which one? And so you make a compromise. But as long as the decision you make is the one you actually want, and it's not influenced by what somebody else wants you to do, or whether you have a fear of time or money or anything else, but is it what you want to do? Because life is short.
Right. Yeah. It just popped into my head a comparison. So I teach yoga, been teaching yoga for like 20 years. And people always have this, I need to get into this pose, even if it kills me, right? So they jam themselves into this pose. And so when I teach, I'm like, here's the beginning of the pose. Does that feel good? Add on something else. Does that still feel good? So you're only allowed to add to the pose if it doesn't subtract from somewhere else. So it's like such a boom, I just blew my own head off. So adding to your life, only add things into your life that add to your life instead of subtract from your life, right?
Yes.
And
And micro
take away
shifts, like
those,
what you were just talking about. Like you
yeah.
start and it's like, okay, does that feel good? You just add a little bit more. You don't have to make this massive adjustment.
You
You
don't
can
have
do
to
it
throw
in
your
micro
leg behind
shifts.
your head because
Not on day one.
no,
Maybe
I
on day three.
20 years, I still can't do it. You would take me to the hospital. Right. And
But do
really,
you
how would
really
that make your
want
life
to?
better? I don't think it would make my life any better if I could throw my leg behind my head. Seriously. So,
Yeah.
so when you're working with people and they're filling up their little moments in their bucket, how did do they have specific things you get them to do, to contemplate, I don't know. I don't have any more words. What are you doing?
So it's the end and bucket list approach is really just about shifting your thinking, and it goes right along with what we've already been talking about.
Yeah,
You start with the past, and you see, because everybody pretty much has a bucket list in life, but it's full of dreams and hopes that most of us will never achieve. So we're already setting ourselves up for failure that way. So look back, see the bucket list of life that you've already been living, and now your thinking is shifted, because life is going to continue to happen unexpectedly, randomly, unplanned. And those are the little mini moments that now, once your thinking is shifted, you start collecting them, and you collect
right.
all these little nuggets. And now you have this source of energy that you can then dream bigger, because you can do it. And now you have a supersized life, because you're not only achieving your goals, but now you're also collecting these mini moments that previously we dismissed as insignificant. And it's
So
just a way to fulfill your life.
yeah, it's almost so my brain just went, oh, because I thought I knew, but now I think I know more. So it's almost like it's almost like you're acknowledging how far you have come. So people always feel like they're always looking ahead at what they haven't achieved. But they never look backwards. And like yours, I like your bucket comparison, but so there's also that like they haven't looked back to say, oh, look where I was 20 years ago and look where I am
Right.
now. Wow, I'm really cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you said that most people will never achieve. And I wonder if, the things in their bucket list. Sometimes I wrote an article recently that said, if one of the reasons you're maybe not achieving these goals, bucket list things, is it's not yours to begin with. Like, is
Mm.
that thing that you've thrown into your bucket because someone told you should do it,
Right.
right? So take that out and put in something that you will achieve
Yes.
or want to achieve. And then you look back to see how far you've come. And then you look forward to see, yeah, I can do that. Okay,
Yeah.
it's all making sense now.
I'm
It's
flipping your switch.
You're flipping my switch. My day, I haven't had any caffeine because I don't drink coffee. So I'm just powered internally, internal combustion and tea. So I think I'm there now. I've got you.
Cool.
I hope ever
Yeah.
and you guys, if you don't get it, you send me a message and I'll send you over to Jay and she's gonna explain it. So when they're working on it, like I guess you are the support, the voice of, hey, let's keep going on this. Like, do you work with people one-on-one or in groups? How do you generally work?
I work with people one-on-one because everybody is individual. And honestly, groups are great. Groups are supportive, and I am working on getting a community together, but the whole point is to live the life you want.
Right.
So if we get into a group, now we're starting to, oh, I can't say that because so and so is going to think something of me. And now we get into fear of judgment. And I tackle one of the buckets that I address. So my course is in buckets, but one of the buckets is tackling fear and how we keep going forward. And so by doing it one-on-one, there's literally it's just you and me.
Right. And it's so true that I think fear appears in ways that sometimes people don't even recognize. Like fear is sneaky, friends. Fear is sneaky. And if you're not achieving what you want, but you're like, I'm not afraid to do it. Well, there is something in there that's maybe a little bit holding you back. And I was talking to someone earlier about, we have these built-in, I think it was my very first guest, talking about how we have these behaviors that were installed when we were like 3, because we knew at that age we had to do this and this and this, or we were going to die. Because if our parents didn't like us and didn't feed us and, all these things that you learn to survive. But once you become a grown up, you still, when you're under stress, become a 3-year-old because that's
Yeah.
the behaviors you've learned. And maybe those aren't serving you anymore. So what do you find has been the most common way that fear shows up for your clients?
Mostly fear of judgment.
Right.
A lot of people get imprisoned by their means or their circumstances. They don't think they have enough money to go do something that they want to do, so they don't even try. And so there are ways to do things. It may not be the most glamorous way, but there are ways to accomplish stuff that you want to do, want to get done. But honestly, fear of judgment seems to be the biggest issue, and it's followed by fear of success,
Right.
because it's like, oh, well, I really, really, really want to do it, and I'm so excited, and I know I can do it, I know. And then it's like, oh, but what happens if I make it? Oh my
And they'll
gosh,
judge you in another way.
exactly. And it circles right back to fear of judgment. And so I teach a way that you basically get a kryptonite against fear of how to battle that
Beautiful.
when you want to do something. And
I
it
don't know
helps
if,
embracing the unknown also, because that's
yeah,
how life comes at us.
yeah. I don't know if you talked to Suze Kohlberg, the Nope coach, but she was on my podcast a couple of years ago and she talked about tall poppy syndrome because she's in Australia. So they've got this thing
Mm-hmm.
called tall poppy syndrome where if you grow taller than everybody else, someone's going to come and chop your head off. So people,
That's scary.
right? So people are afraid to stand out because someone will come and chop your head off. So it's the same fear of judgment, just they're judging you for saying something, they're judging you for achieving too much, they're judging you for being crazy, for wearing purple, for
Yeah, anything. And when I was on a podcast a few weeks ago, and the lady and I were talking, and she really enjoyed riding her bicycle. And I said, well, when's the last time you rode it? And she said, oh, not for years. And I said, well, when you were a kid, did you just take the bike out and go riding, or did you pull the bike out and think, oh, well, somebody might see me and they might judge me, and then you just didn't go ride your bike? What did you do? And she said, no, when I was a kid, I just went and rode my bike. And I said, okay, well, what's stopping you now?
And when you were a kid, you didn't have to go somewhere and do
No,
something. Like I used to ride around and around. We lived on on this block that had a whole bunch of kids. I just ride up and down the street, even
yep,
when it was raining,
exactly.
up and down the
All day
street
long.
all day long. I wasn't trying to go anywhere or do anything. I was just riding my bike.
It was
So,
just fun.
but now when we do something fun or when we do anything, there seems to have to be a purpose behind it instead of just doing
Just
it,
having fun.
just
Yeah.
doing it. Right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We have lost our fun.
Yes.
Fun anchors. Fun anchors. They're so sneaky. Man. Okay, that's cool. So, this is very interesting. Now, what is your website, by the way, for
So I
people to
have
come and find you?
the unknownbucketlist.com. As
Easy
we're
to remember.
as we're talking about this right now, it is being revised, but the unknownbucketlist.com is my website, and you can find me on social media, Instagram and Facebook under the same. You can find me on LinkedIn under J.Lumen. The link to I actually have a free self-assessment if people need some help trying to find their past achievements and overlooked joys and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a free assessment, and the links are on my social media page to go to. It's a play on words. It's resume your life, or you can say resume your life.
Oh, look at you go.
So whichever one resonates with you, you can say resume your life or resume your life,
Resume
but
your life.
it's
And I'll
yeah.
make sure that I put all of that in the show notes too for the people who are driving because I don't want them to crash their cars.
No, definitely not.
No
We
texting and
don't want
driving.
that mini moment on their list.
No, you don't want that in your bucket. You don't want that in your
No.
bucket. And so they can find you all over the place and they can go. So the mini assessment is it like a quiz?
Yeah, it's six questions, and within the six questions it might be like 1A, 1B. But it literally just, and you don't have to do the whole thing. It's just a way to get you to start thinking about reflecting on the past and things that you might have dismissed as insignificant, and just kind of collect. It's a way to start collecting and building your unknown bucket list so that you can then leverage that especially if you're wanting to make changes in your life but you're not really sure where to start. So
Right.
that's kind of the first step, and it's free. And if somebody wants additional help trying to kind of implement it, I do offer a complimentary call at the end, but all of that's on the self-assessment. But it's
That's
something
awesome.
people can do themselves. Like, you can look back on your life and you can launch yourself forward.
Right. You can, and I mean, I sometimes equate it to like going to the gym. You can go to the gym and work out,
Yes.
but you get, because I'm also a personal trainer, but you get more results. I filled my bucket to overflowing once I left corporate finance.
Ah,
Um, you get way better results when you have someone with you who can
yes.
stand on the outside and go, hey, your form could be just a tiny bit better on that one. Right? Or maybe it's time to lift heavier weights. I think you're ready.
Yeah. It's like, let's go
Right?
to the next bucket.
Bucket. Let's level up. Now, that's not to say that you're going to
Exactly.
drive yourself crazy or bleed from your eyeballs or any of that jazz, because we don't do that here.
No, and it's
It's
all
all
done,
about feeling good.
it's all micro shifts. It's not a massive, it's all about how you look at everything and just making micro shifts and little mini changes. And so whether you need a massive overhaul in your life or you just need a improvement in just a tiny little area, it's applicable to anybody,
Well,
really.
even with a massive overhaul, you can only start with one thing, right?
Exactly. You
It's
can't
only
do it.
one thing, and then you let
Yeah.
that, and then when that's working, you go to the next thing.
Yeah.
Because even if you tear down a house, it takes a while to build the new one. So you might as well
It
keep
does.
somewhere to live while you're building your new house.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. It's like, so a story that I share sometimes is like, if you're standing on the side of a river and you want to get to the other side because you want to, then you can take all your mini moments and like little stones in the river and you just keep dropping them in there slowly. And at the beginning, it doesn't look like anything. But if you keep dropping your little mini moments in there, eventually you're going to build a bridge to get to the other
That's
side.
brilliant.
And if you want to walk over there, you can. And if you want to come back, you can, because maybe your family and your work and everything you love is over here, but you just need a little me time. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm
Beautiful.
going to go over my bridge. I'll be right back.
See you in a minute. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And I hope I didn't like totally mess this up now because I always give my my amazing guests the last word of wisdom. So, do you have another word of wisdom we can share with people?
Oh, sure. There's just everybody deserves to live a life that they don't regret. And life is short, cliche, but true. We never know when our last day is going to be. So it's a matter of living like life is short, but also living like life is long and finding the balance in between. So you do that by making intentional decisions about what you want each day. And that way you're always living a life you don't regret, because we're always going to want more time with our family or our friends. But if we can see that we've been doing the things all along, we're never going to want more time to do the things.
That's awesome. Boom, mic drop. She still had another word of wisdom for us. Thank you so much for coming and sharing this with us. I love the unknown bucket list. My brain has many, many thoughts in it. So, my friends in podcast land, put your many, many thoughts in the chat, in the comments. Share this with someone who you think needs to build their bridge, right? That you know is awesome, who doesn't think they're awesome, because they need to hear it. And go to the website, go get the self-assessment, go check all of that out, because I think you're awesome. And if you don't think you're awesome, you need to go and take that assessment, right? Say hell yes.
Hell yes.
Thank you, my friends. Have a beautiful, amazing day. Keep taking care of yourself. I love you. I will see you again soon.